The October 1 award changes will land differently depending on how your clinic is structured. Today's video will walk you through exactly how exposed you might be and the exact activity you can do today to get ahead of this. My name's Shane Gunaratnam. I'm the founder of Culture of One, and I run a business fundamentally focused on clinic economics, making your business as profitable, sustainable as possible, and ensuring we're delivering excellent clinical and client experiences in the process. How exposed are you? The same award changes landing on two different clinics can have robustly different outcomes in this process, and we need to really look at your individual practice here. Firstly, what is about to happen? So on October 1, the first stage of the rollout of the new award hits. This is followed over the next 4 years with wage rises that land at the start of every financial year from stage 2 in 2027 all the way to stage 5 in 2030. And that is something we really need to be paying attention to. While we've got here, well, the Fair Work Commission went and looked at specific awards where females tended to dominate the space, and that included the Health Award. And their question was, are people in female-dominated spaces being paid less than people in male-dominated spaces? Well, what they concluded that in these female-dominated spaces, we are seeing lower wages, and they've put together a structure to increase wages over the coming years in consultation with a lot of the peak bodies for allied health, and this is where it's landed. Unfortunately, this doesn't land the same way for everybody, and there are really two buckets you fall into. If you are mostly dealing with private paying patients, you've got a lot more leverage in this scenario because you have control over your pricing. If, on the other hand, you're mostly doing NDIS work or third-party work like DVA, workers' compensation, support at home, this is going to be much more challenging for you, and that is where a lot of margins will start getting squeezed. Now, the money always needs to come from somewhere, and there are 4 places this can come from, and I'm going to walk you through each one individually here. Price, the simplest lever, and this is the one where clinics with private paying clients really have the upper hand, because you can change how much you price, how much you charge for your services, and consequently your dollars per hour can be manipulated through this lever, and it is the dominant one. It is productivity, and I think a lot of people have tried to squeeze this. This is the natural place where we try and get therapists seeing more patients in an hour or across a day or across a working week. I honestly think productivity is going to be the hardest one to push at, because especially in these gazetted fee environments, people have already been pushing on productivity for years, trying to move this stuff along. There is only so many consults a clinician can do, and what we are seeing is a lot of pushback already around burnout, around clinical overload, around not wanting to take work home, etc. And that makes productivity quite challenging as a space, as a single strategy. Mind you, every business needs to focus on productivity and efficiency regardless of what you charge, because it is the obvious thing to create an environment where everybody can prosper. Now, this is where it gets a bit more complicated, because we can look at the team mix and the mix of services. And to put this another way, if you've got more junior therapists in your team, you're perhaps less exposed to fixed price services and the like, because relatively their wages are going to be lower. So a more junior team seeing fixed price services has the ability to navigate that better, and a more experienced layer of that team seeing more private clients might be a strategy that can work for you. But again, it's not a horses for courses type idea, and we all know often the most complex patients actually come through in those fixed price environments. So that's a tricky thing to try and navigate, but it's something worth looking at, especially as this reclassification rollout starts happening. The cost to pay your staff more is going to come off your bottom line, and it's going to really impact the sustainability of most clinics. So that's the part you don't control, and the floor is going to be moving upwards from here. But here's the part you do have control over. You can have a look at your books now. You can get ahead of this challenge by anticipating where things are going to go and plan accordingly. And that is exactly what the second half of this video is all about. So which strategy you need really depends on a number you already have access to. And what you're going to do today is look at how you can actually assess where your clinicians are at, what their billing is relative to their wages, and what the logical next lever is for your business. This will take you about 30 minutes, and you need to look at the largest sum of time. When I run this myself, I would do it over 12 months, but if you really want an accurate snapshot of what's currently happening, the last 12 weeks is key. So if we take your last quarter, for example, we've got the last 12 weeks of billings, we've got the last 12 weeks of wages, and we can add up what your clinicians have cost you, including their wages and super, and we can compare that against what they've built over the quarter. This will give us a ratio of where things sit, which is otherwise known as your gross profit margin. And that is the money that's left over after paying your therapist, which you have to run and pay for the entire business. So how exposed are you? Well, here's a little bonus. I've put together a worksheet. It'll take you about half an hour to run through this, and it'll tell you exactly what you need to know before October 1. So download it from the link below and let's get cracking. This is something I want you to do now because it's going to be quite challenging to do this after the rollout, because you'll see a new floor coming through and that's going to change some of this picture. So the sooner you get this information, the better prepared you are going to be, because the big picture is that those margins are going to be shrinking each year as this award increase rolls through. So you can work out the numbers you have right now. It becomes challenging to work this out prospectively looking forwards, because it really depends on who's working for you, what their award rates are, and how much they're going to be billing at the time. But it is a really useful exercise to do now so that we can guide this process. If you want to see where these wages are going, we've built this into our course called Rebuild. It rolls out the whole October structure. It's worked end to end, so you can see exactly where each practitioner lands in their classification, and you can get that information together as well. So before you go, this is general information. It is not specific advice for your clinic, and I always recommend people look at the Fair Work Commission decisions themselves and the resources that are available via the links I'll be sharing. Thanks for watching today's video. Don't forget to like and subscribe. And if you're enjoying this series on the changes to the Health and Professional Support Services Award, do me a favour, share it with someone else who would love to get this information too. I hope to see you guys inside our Rebuild course, where we walk through all of these things as well. But if not, I'll see you in the next video.